Ran from creep at university campus, so a bit of backstory. I live in a city in Ontario, Canada. I was attending university for science and it was currently the end of the semester, so no more classes. Just exams. I had to go to one of the science buildings at the school to drop something off to a professor I was doing work on the side for. The science building was one of the separate buildings from the main university center. The school was empty. No students anywhere since exams were going on and classes were done. I decided to go in the side entrance to the building since it was closer to the parking lot. As I approach the side entrance door, I see a man, maybe 40 years old, with glasses, shoulder-length brown greasy hair and a blue jean jacket standing against the wall by the door. I walk up to the door, smile at him and he just looks at me with this dreadful straight face and dead eyes. It was like looking into something but not a person. He just seemed very out of place. As soon as I walk in the door he turns behind me to walk inside as well. I start walking down the hallway and he's following me. I can hear him. I start walking faster and so does he. I make the turns down various hallways to get where I need to go and he's literally right behind me. I start running. He starts to run as well but I outrun him and take a sharp corner and run into the first room I see which had some students working studying in it. I tell them I'm being followed and they peek their head out of the room to check and see where the guy went. They come back in the room and say he looked really angry and was looking in the male/female bathrooms and the other empty classrooms he was peeking his head into. I was so scared. 15 minutes after he actually left the hallway apparently. I had the other students walk me to my car and I drove home. I called campus security when I got home and told them about the experience. Sure enough, they had him on camera literally chasing me down the hallways. There was a notice put out for students to watch out for that man. I really wonder what he wanted. I think maybe he would have tried to steal my backpack. Or worse. One of the most scariest experiences in my life, so, creepy man on campus, let's not ever meet. The hole in the shower wall. I was about 20 or 21 at the time this incident took place. I was a female university student, but I commuted to my campus, so I lived at home. A good friend of mine went to the same school, Southwest. We stayed close into our adulthood. She had recently started working out at a branch of a popular chain of gyms that was nearby. And she asked me to be her gym buddy. I was more than happy to, and I started joining her. Whenever we went, we had our little routine. Weights, cardio, and then to the pool. This gym had a great pool for laps. But of course, you had to shower before you got in. Especially after working up a sweat doing other exercises. The locker room connected the main section of the complex to the pool area. And it had little cubicles to shower off in. We used these showers all of the time without a second thought. This building had been around for a long time. Before it was this particular gym. It was another gym from a different company and so on. The place wasn't exactly modern or renovated. And in some areas, the showers in particular, it was pretty dilapidated. Some of the tiles were cracked or had fallen off completely. One day, the stall I was in was missing tiles all around the handles, but I didn't pay attention to it. I figured it was only pipework back there. But that day, I got an odd feeling. So, I bent down to look through the hole in the shower wall. Lo and behold, there was a pair of eyes staring straight at me. I could tell it was a man, maybe middle-aged. Even staring directly at him, having caught him peeping. He stared right on. He never looked away, his gaze animalistic and intent. The hole went straight through to another room. Presumably the showers in the men's locker room. I turned the shower head so that I could hide in the corner and finish up out of his line of sight, and I promptly reported it to the staff. They went looking for him in the men's lockers, but never found the culprit. I jogged my memory, trying to recall if any particular person had been watching me in the gym that day. But it could have been any one of dozen or so men I casually worked out next to, in the same room. None the wiser, within only a couple of days, the staff had patched up all of the shower walls. I'm glad it won't happen to any other unsuspecting girls there. But shower peeper. Let's not meet. Off-putting man hanging out on my college campus. This happened back in July of 2017. It was the end of the semester, so I went to the campus to take a proctored final exam. I had to go to the back building, which is the health sciences building on campus. There's a good 150-yard walk down a paved walkway to get to the back building from the main building. I had finished the exam and was leaving the building when I noticed a man standing out on the paved walkway taking pictures of the campus, or so it seemed. He was probably 45 and wasn't dressed how most students dress. He was dressed like a construction worker or a laborer you would see out in a dusty desert area. White dirty t-shirt, faded blue jeans, belt with a large buckle, and steel toe boots. As I saw him, I got this intuitive feeling in my gut that something was off and I needed to avoid him. I have never had that feeling hit me as strongly as it did here. I couldn't avoid him though. He was right in my line of sight, saw me, and he was on the pathway that I had to walk down. I started walking toward him, and placed my hand inside my bag on the canister of mace that I carry. He looked at me and said, "Isn't this campus beautiful? The thing is, it's not anything special. No landmarks, no cool architecture. It's a boring campus with dark red brick school buildings." The way he said it was so cheery and forced, like he was acting or something. I noticed him look me up and down after he said this. He then hurried and took a picture with his digital camera that wasn't turned on. I noticed the camera wasn't capturing anything and my stomach sunk. I thought to myself, "What is this guy doing here?" I replied, "Yeah, it's a pretty nice campus." I didn't want to engage with him and I walked somewhat quickly past him as I replied to him. He started walking behind me and caught up with me, so he was walking next to me. He started asking me questions like, "Are you a student or a teacher here? How old are you? What are you studying?" I told him I was a student, but I didn't answer his other questions. My hand was still resting on the mace in my purse and he wasn't pretending to take pictures anymore. Unfortunately, no one else had exited either building and it was just me and him outside. We approached the main building doors after he asked me questions and he then proceeded to stand in front of the doors and stare at me. He stood in front of them so I couldn't go through them. It was an uncomfortable few seconds. He stood incredibly close to me. I looked up at him and he stood there looking down at me. It went through my mind that he was several inches taller than me and was pretty muscular. I knew if he tried anything, I wouldn't be able to fend him off. I'm certain I gave off the vibe that I didn't want to be talking to him. Finally he opened the door for me. I thanked him blandly and looked across the lobby to see if anyone was at the service desk. No one was at the desk and the lobby was empty. That's what I get for taking a summer class and scheduling my test for the last day of the semester. The man started looking around as if he was feigning interest in the lobby and he then said, "Wait here for me. I'll be right back." I didn't wait for him. As he turned around to walk away, I hurried and grabbed my cell phone and booked it out of the building into the parking lot. I don't know why I got such a negative feeling about him. But my intuition has never been wrong about people. I would have been crazy to wait for him. I can't shake the feeling that this man probably goes to school campuses and looks for vulnerable women or women who are too nice. Recently, there have been women who have disappeared from college campuses in the valley and the valleys north and south of here. So let's not meet. Stalked on campus. I started my first year of university when I was 17. Since I would be studying in a language that wasn't my first, I needed to stop by during the summer to take a language test and prove I would be able to handle it. I'd been to the city a couple times before, but the area was under construction so it was nearly impossible for me to find a bus stop. I eventually found my way to the building I needed and took my test. I failed, but they decided to let me in anyway as the books were in English and all my mistakes were stupid grammar ones that a lot of people made. So I am walking along a street, grinning from ear to ear, when a man in his 30s walks up to me. He's black, has a heavy accent, and was at least 6 feet 5 inches. "I've seen you running here before," he says. "I've always wanted to come talk to you." I was stunned and confused. But my overly polite upbringing kicked in and I told him he must be mistaken. I hadn't been here in years. And I don't run. He was far too insistent. When I tried to walk past, he would sidestep and stand in front of me. At some point I had the horrible realization that I didn't actually know where I needed to go. The bus stop for the return trip wasn't where I thought it would be. And here is this guy refusing to believe I had never been here before. not letting me move more than a couple feet every few minutes. At some point I saw a bus go by and decided I needed to be going that way. All the while he's trying to get information out of me, what I study, where I live, my name. When he sees I'm distracted by the bus, he decided to try and grab my arm. In a blind panic I run as fast as I can, which, as you may have guessed, isn't that fast. I don't run in the direction of the bus. I find a bus stop and lucky for me a bus is pulling up. I jump in and sit down and let out a small sigh of relief. Until I look up and see the guy again, buying a bus ticket, and coming to sit down in front of me. With a big grin on his face he continues talking to me. His questions and comments are getting steadily creepier. He's telling me I'm beautiful, he's going to marry me and we're going to have a lot of children and I won't even need to go to the silly university anymore. I'm stunned and have no idea what to do. I can't shake the feeling that I need to keep calm and stay polite. Even though all I want to do is scream at him to leave me alone, the bus stops at the train station and I jump out. I head towards the trains moving at a fast pace, but he's always one step behind me. I hear him say, "I'm not going to let you leave," from behind me. I hear the whistle blow from the platform and I make a finally run for it. I managed to jump through the train doors just as they were closing, and heard a thump on the window. I didn't want to look behind me, and as the train started moving I burst into tears of relief and went running for a train conductor. Really sweet lady who gave me vouchers for some free tea or coffee and gave me advice I follow quite happily when it comes to creeps. Honey, I know everyone tells you otherwise, but sometimes you just need to be a really big bitch to people. Followed around campus. A little background about myself: I am a 19-year-old female. I stand around 5 feet 2 inches and roughly at 115 pounds. I am a sophomore at a university. Anyway. Around midterms, a chemistry teacher decided to have a midterm review, so there were people from different chemistry classes. The room got crowded. I was with my best friend, Leo. Leo and I noticed one of the students sitting next to me at a distance. I didn't care because the class was full anyways. During the review, I noticed that the guy was slowly scooting closer and closer to me. Note that I am a bit claustrophobic. Leo noticed as well and he told me to scoot closer to him, and so I did. Thus, the guy began starting at me. He is sitting next to me, it on the right side. The board is also on the right side, so if I look at the board, his face is there. I began getting creeped out. I made eye contact with him, and I shit you not, he gave me the creepiest fucking smile I have ever seen. Finally, the midterm review was over. As I was getting my stuff ready to leave, the guy was standing at the door, staring at me with the same fucking smile. Leo notices and tells me to stay with him. As we were leaving, the guy noticed that Leo is not leaving my side and left, sadly. This wasn't my last encounter with this creep. 2 weeks later, my girl best friend, Ella, was walking with me. It was 8 at night and we just finished out late class. It was dark as fuck, but there were some lights. As we were walking, and guess who I see? The same fucking creep from the review. I look at Ella and tell her that is the same creepy ass from the review. She told me to just ignore it. I make eye contact with the guy. I swear I was shitting bricks at this point because he, again, gave me the same fucking smile. Ella saw it as well and told me to just keep walking and he will just keep walking. I shit you not, this creep turns around and starts walking behind us. I kept looking back. But not looking back too obviously though. Ella and I are pretty much freaking the hell out because we were far away from where the cops usually stay. At this point, we are speed walking. We hear him whispering some stuff. I couldn't really pick up what he was saying. Thankfully we see campus security. I look behind me to see that he was closer than ever. My friend Ella and I walk towards the security and pretend we are going to talk to him. The creep nopes the fuck out of there and walks away once he figures we are going to talk to the security. Ella and I sit down because we were shaking pretty badly. I have not seen creepy guy for the rest of the semester. And neither has Ella, and now that the new semester has started, creepy guy, let's not meet ever again. Update: I recently was talking to my friend Talene about the guy that followed Ella and I around campus. We have come to find out that the guy that followed us on campus a while back, his name is Christian. He followed my friend Talene on her first semester at university, the year after my friend and I were followed. She reported it to the campus security and police. Christian got kicked out of campus a few days later.